Hello, and welcome to another video from Sustenance and Covering, the only YouTube channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse, but actually enjoy it. And today we're going to talk about the cost associated with being a survivalist. As far as I know, there is no club and no dues for being a survivalist. But there are, of course, things that you would buy that the average person wouldn't buy, like what I'm looking at right now. A chicken house and a greenhouse. And honestly, that did cost quite a bit of money. But I am resourceful. So a lot of what went into that was just work and used materials. I have $3,000 total in both buildings. I didn't keep separate. I kept all the receipts just to make sure of how much I was spending, but I didn't keep them separate, so I don't know how much is in each. But in any case, a lot of what's associated with the cost of being a survivalist is just the cost of being a human being on the earth. My food storage system is probably cost less than the average person's regular food. It's the same, but it's bought in bulk, so it's cheaper. And there is never any waste, because even if we do have something to go bad, we have plenty of animals that are more than willing to turn it into eggs and meat. But what would most people spend $3,000 on? Well, there's another thing, this house here. You know, I've never had, the most money I've ever made in my life was $1,009 a month. And I had to work overseas to get that. And that was in 1985. Since then, my income is probably about half of that. And yet, I purchased this. This is not anything that was willed to me. It's not, my parents didn't help me with it. In fact, I've done everything I can to help them. But if I was a regular person, I would have a powerboat. Powerboat on the other side of that SUV. There's a powerboat over there. In fact, everybody in this neighborhood got a powerboat. And probably about a one-day supply of groceries in their house. Now, why would I compare a chicken house to a powerboat? Well, they might be about the same cost. A powerboat, probably about $14,000. I said I had $3,000 in my two outbuildings here. Well, that's a lot more, I guess, for the powerboat. But they do have some similarities, such as the fact that 365 days a year, this chicken house is sitting right here in my yard. Very, very similar to a powerboat. I think both of my neighbors' powerboats have gone out once this year. And most of that time was probably spent behind the trailer. And I could go in my chicken house right now and get some eggs, but if you go in that powerboat over there, probably ain't a single food item in there. Now, another thing that is a cost that goes with being a survivalist, I've got a barbecue grill. Well, everybody got a barbecue grill. Nothing special about that. So I can cook when I don't even have electricity, but how many people got 10 propane tanks with their barbecue grill? And I didn't buy any of them. I found the barbecue grill on the side of the road with no tank. And then I found 10 rusted out barbecue grills on the side of the road that did have tanks. And I took the tanks off, brought them down and had them refilled. I found one time, the barbecue grill was totally rusted out and the tank was full. But at this time I've got, and the gas in one tank is all I use in a year, and I don't cook in the house. So there's, for me right now, 10-year supply of gas. All it is being resourceful. And there's a lot of examples of that. I know that you may want to trap, so you can trap meat in a survival situation. And altogether, I got 24 traps. At $100 a piece, that's a lot of money, but I built most of my traps, and they cost me about $9 a piece to build. Well, in any case, we've got a lot of tools here for when the end of this world as we know it comes. And most of it was just bought a little bit at a time, because I've never ever had much money. Every month when I get my little check from SSI, the first $100 will usually go to buying a chain, or buying a tank of gas, or buying a Nax. It's always something like that. The only problem I have is when we have these conversations with our neighbors and they tell us about the trip they just took to Cancun, and the next one says, oh, well, that was fun, but I went to Aruba, that was even funner. I can't tell them nothing except the 24 countries that I was forced to go into as a member of the U.S. Armed Forces. And I'm sure that their trip was a lot funner than mine, and my trips were never to any tourist traps. Oh well, sustenance and covering. Goodbye.